Welcome to another week in Pensado's Place. He's Dave, I'm Herb, and our guest is an amazing giant music maker and live performer in the spiritual space, the one, the only Israel Houghton. But first, the holiday season is well upon us, and we've got several things in the Pensado Preferred stocking this week. That's your guide to cool stuff in sound. We've told you about the Warm Audio 15% off sale. That discount is across their entire product line, globally, all December long. Their mics, their preamps, their equalizers, compressors, all stuff that we really vouch for and you'll enjoy. Potentially hundreds and hundreds of dollars of savings for you. It's good at all Warm Audio authorized dealers or hit warmaudio.com. If you're thinking about education, only one place to think about, and that's Blackbird's Academy. Consider their live classes in January or April. Amazing teachers, hands-on experience, lots of job opportunities, and you don't want to miss that opportunity. Go to blackbirdacademy.com or hit karma at theblackbirdacademy.com. For cool software, check out AudioSourceRE's DMix Pro. Now, how do you use that? You can separate and isolate vocal tracks, drum tracks, other stems. Super handy for remixing and remastering, post-production, all kinds of stuff. You can get information at AudioSourceRE.com. And finally, we got a cool live event for you. If you're in the LA area, Saturday, December 15th, Dave and I are going to stop by the Westlake Pro holiday sales event. It runs from 10 to 4. Dave and I will be sharing our views about the future of audio from 1 to 2. The whole event from 10 to 4, Dave and I appearing at 1 to 2. $15,000 in giveaways, one-day doorbuster deals, catered free lunch, and open bar and wine at the closing reception. It's good fun and lots of information all day long. RSVP at westlakepro.com and you're good to go. And as always, we thank you for your likes and subscribes. Please click notify right there and off we go. Dave, what is our ITL this week?
Sometimes we forget how useful limiters are on 808s. So I'm going to show you how to use some limiters on getting your 808s very punchy.
Man, I love 808s, and I recently got one for a mix I'm doing, and I needed I can't say a new way, but I needed a way to control it to fit within a pop framework. So I'm going to share some of those things with you. Now, don't let the word pop scare you, because I think this will work in any song or any genre. First, here's what I was given. And I'm going to play it for you in this order because I think this is instructive. This is some weird-ass EQ right here. Look at this. So listen to it. And what you're saying is, Dave, I think that sounds worse. Check out what happens when I low pass it. Check this out. Now we're getting somewhere, right? Now, here's the limiter. This is a Joy Sturgis limiter. This thing is really, really good. In fact, I can't think of anything that Joy makes that I don't use and like. So check this out. Get ready. The amazing thing is, watch this. How did we get low end by taking low end out? Let me know. Okay, now let's try another one. This is another one of my favorites. This is an oldie but a goodie. I don't think this limiter's been updated in, man, at least 3, 4, 5 years. It's that good. Originally, I kind of thought it reminded me and worked a little bit like the Lavery Gold soft clip mode does. Very affordable and a great company. I think we should support little small companies like this, but let's hear what this one does. a hair louder than the original, but you get the idea. And last but not least, I want to show you another limiter. This is real popular in the EDM world. I think there's an update to this now, I'm not sure, but it sure sounds good like this. These are the settings you might want to check out, especially the oversampling. Limiters and oversampling go hand in hand, so anytime you get a chance to oversample, do it. So here we go. Let's go nuts. Let's go to 16. I hear a little clarity on the top. I don't know that it would sell any more records, but it certainly sounds a tiny bit better to me. Now let's go the other way. Let's go to 1. I don't know. They all sound pretty good, don't they? But experiment with oversampling anytime you get an opportunity, because it really does allow a more accurate reproduction of the original signal, and other benefits too. The negative is, of course, it's going to eat up a lot of CPU. Hope you enjoyed that. I'll see you next time.
Israel Houghton is our guest. Highly decorated, incredible instrumentalist, touring artist, producer, writer, and friend of ours. Welcome, man.
Good to be back.
Good to see you, bro.
Israel,
Good
my
to see you.
friend.
How are you, sir?
Fist
Good
pump.
to see you.
You know what's crazy? I kind of brushed up on the last time I was here, just to make sure I didn't wear the same hat.
Sure.
Was basically my main concern.
Uh-huh.
What a smash hit
Wait a
this
minute,
show
Israel.
is.
Are you taking credit for this?
I kind of am.
Oh, okay,
Like
just
I
checking.
basically made sure that everybody,
No, I mean, without you.
Well, you know he has a good friend.
My point is, it's really good to be back.
Well, and it's great to have you. And it was much like what happens when you're a spiritual person. There's divine intervention.
Sure.
And that happened when I called you.
Yeah.
I'm embarrassed to say I literally was sitting in the subway parking lot deciding tuna or Israel. And Jesus said Israel.
I love it. I love it.
New album, you made it at home,
Yeah.
correct?
Yeah, we did the whole record at the house.
Making the record at home, did that give you a certain freedom to express yourself differently?
It did.
And tell us about it.
You know what's funny? Off camera, we were talking about Thanksgiving, which just passed a little bit ago, and how the food tastes so much better 2 or 3 days later, well, or 1 or 2 days later at least. The idea of just everything, all the spices and, marinade all comes together then. And it's not unlike making a record. We've all made records in a hurry. And then we've made some records where you go, let me let that marinate and just see how I feel about it in a week, how I feel about it in a month. And so I got to do that with this record. I wasn't in a hurry. I wasn't in a rush. I started last November and just released it in September. That's probably the longest I've ever taken to actually work on a full record. And I liked the way it marinated, man. I liked the freedom of, I feel like doing a vocal now and just walking downstairs and doing the vocal, as opposed to calling somebody going, hey, can I schedule for next
Absolutely.
Friday to get it, you know what I mean?
Is this engineer ready? And
Yeah,
can we do that?
exactly,
And
exactly.
is it
So
gonna be-
we all kind of hung out, and whole band, the house was big enough for everybody to stay and chill, and I had a blast, man.
And that's one of the things I wanted to ask you, because one, there's no sacrifice in quality when you do it.
Not anymore.
Yeah,
absolutely.
It's literally as good, if not better.
Yeah.
And two, because of your prowess as a live performer, are there live elements that you try to get into your records?
Great question.
Because you do so much live performing.
Yeah, I kind of took some risks on this record where every song was maybe not the typical gospel section, meaning bass, drums, guitars, keys, organ, keys.
Keys on Van Nuys.
Right, Keys on Van Nuys.
If you live in LA, that's a local commercial.
So
anyway.
I did a bit more programming probably than I've ever done, and just tried some new things. And that is back to this idea of taking your time at home. What sticks with you? What feels good? So, but certainly the stuff that has those live elements in it, we approached it very much, even like sometimes when I was doing my vocal, I'm doing it with a guitar in my hand and kind of envisioning being on the stage and what comes out, what kind of energy comes out of that. Because if I'm not careful, I could be a little more subdued in the studio than I would be live.
Right.
And with New Breed, we've always kind of been known for our live records. So
Right.
trying to keep that energy up and still deliver what I'm trying to deliver.
I noticed that you collaborated a lot on this album. Is that something you enjoy doing and see as part of your creative skill set?
I think so. It feels like every record I've done, at least probably since Jonathan Butler did the South Africa record with us, I love the idea of collaboration. I love somebody else bringing their thing to it. I mean, sure, they're bringing their platform to it as well, and certainly in this digital age, you kind of need all the help you can get because you want everybody's fan base to But I just like the idea of, being challenged differently, vocally, et cetera, by what I'm doing. So,
do you allow the collaborator to influence what you're doing? Do you ask the collaborator, hey man, do you like this verse? Do you like this sound? Do you like this?
In songwriting, certainly. In if I'm bringing the person in who didn't write, but they're singing on the song,
A feature.
I kind of just say, do you give me more than you would ever normally give, and let me figure out how to play off of that, and then we'll put the soup together.
Was it hard collaborating with your wife?
The truth is, I had so much fun collaborating with her. She's had great success in music, with 3LW and with the Cheetah Girls, and then she kind of fell off music altogether. And she's been doing her television show, The Real. Won an Emmy this year. I'm so proud of her.
Congratulations.
And I kind of, pretty naturally just said, you got to get back in it. So last year is when we tried this. So we brought all the guys to our house, set up, the Apollos and, all the warm audio stuff and went for it. And we did like a Christmas in Puerto Rico type of record on her called New Tradiciones. And she killed it. I mean, she killed it.
She's talented.
And so I think the bug definitely came back. So this past year when I said, okay, I'm going to do my record, I kind of had to, I didn't have to coax her as hard as I might have had to before to sing. And I got her to sing 2 songs with me on this record. That was the funnest collaboration.
First cut is great.
First cut, yeah.
That's your favorite.
The Secrets is the first cut, and I'd call it my second favorite. My first favorite is a song called I'm With You, Be Still. And we approached it almost as if Simon and Garfunkel would have done it, in the sense of like, we're both singing on one mic, we're harmonizing the whole way through. It's very haunting and very super stripped down. Tommy Sims played the acoustic on it, like only Tommy could play, in my opinion. And that's my favorite song.
Who played guitar on True?
True, I played guitar on True.
I like that intro part. That's really good.
Thank you very much.
Now, are you putting this record out independently?
No, it's out with RCA.
Gotcha.
So it came out September 29th or something. So it's been out a little over a month.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Cool. And you have, once you get to the point in your career where you are, do you have pretty much leeway to do what you want to do and make what you want to do?
I am definitely my own A&R. No disrespect to the fine A&R people at RCA. And they always have great ideas, but it feels like our interaction ends up happening more on the marketing side.
Got it.
So I kind of go into the lab and work and create and
deliver the
and
baby.
this record in particular is such a narrative of kind of my life the last 5 or 6 years. But I feel like it took me 42 years to write this record.
What's your DAW? What do you utilize to make?
We did, when we're tracking with the band, we did a lot of it on Pro Tools, but we've been using Studio One.
A lot of people are.
And the guy that I co-produced the record with, a guy named Matt Edwards, young guy out of Tampa, brilliant.
Where I'm from.
Brilliant. He's brilliant. So I could send him a voice notes of, I'm thinking this is the vibe of the chorus. I could beatbox an idea to him. I could sing it, not even with a click. And what he does from that process all the way to the mix process started with him being able to manipulate what I sent him, and Studio One is his DAW of choice. So it worked great for me.
And you have him mix the records for you as well?
He mixed He mixed every song on this record. So he co-produced, co-wrote a couple songs. Him and I wrote True together, and he mixed it.
When you're recording, when you're writing, well, let me say this.
Yeah.
In the early stages of the creative part, what do you start with? You start with a concept, a lick, a riff.
Sometimes it's a riff. True, we're talking about True a lot. I wrote True in my wife's dressing room shower. Like,
Do you want to go farther with that?
nope, that's
cool.
it.
We'll
No,
just-
I had gotten a haircut and I was just getting rinsed off.
Yeah, parents, put your children.
No, she was down on the set already on the set, and this song, the melody of the
great
of the
song.
verse
Great song.
came to me in the shower. So it's like you never know where
you
inspiration
taking
is
a
going to hit.
shower?
I was taking a shower
Okay,
at the time.
Just to clarify.
Again, there's a lot of visuals now that are so unnecessary. But
Well, it's a TV show. So
Well, I mean,
we
I
need,
like
we
the
need
song. I'm going to
assets.
take a shower
Thank
and write
you.
a song.
But the point is, you just never know when inspiration is going to hit. Sometimes
Absolutely.
it hits at 37,000 feet in the air, and all you have is your phone, and you got the background noise of the plane, and you're singing it into it. And sometimes it's in an actual writing session, and magic happens.
But I think
cool.
there's so much focus on technology now.
Yeah.
And part of what technology allows is this crazy portability. And it's almost people are ready at any moment, any place to capture anything they can.
Sure.
Which can consume you and make for a lot of mediocrity.
True.
But so now we all have to be better editors about what's good, what's not good,
Sure.
because so many people are catching so many. We just look at the videos that people capture of civil disobedience.
Of course.
There's like now. I think you're both. It's a little off topic, but like when there's news now and there's not a video to accompany it,
weird.
it seems weird.
Yeah. Even the news without pictures, the print news.
And that's
The way it used to be, right?
That's
Yeah.
a very scary thing that we've gotten so used to. And, if it doesn't have video, it doesn't have validation. But I think on the music
it's
side.
not real. You got to be entertained somehow.
Well, I think on the music side, it allows a lot of people to go down paths where they think that something is good because it's captured, when that's not necessarily the standard.
100%. And so I feel like there is always this quest to go, what is the best performance? What is that thing that makes you feel like God just stepped in the room? And sometimes it's the first thing. A lot of times, like guys I've worked with for years and years and years, Danny Duncan, I shouted him out on the show last time. Haven't done a record since 2000 without him. And he's learned how to go, hey, I'm still trying to get my levels. Can you just sing that again? And many times, that's the one. Because I'm loose, I don't have red light-itis, I'm just feeling it.
Yep.
And sometimes the scratch of like, let me set this up for these other guys, here's the thing, ends up being the God stepped in the room moment.
The professional basketball analogy is oftentimes the three-pointer that is shot when the shot clock is running out, there's only a second left, is often made because your pressure's off. It's like I have to shoot. So I'm just going to relax and shoot. I just don't have a choice.
Especially the farther out you go to.
And that's often the one that goes in.
And I'm a big believer in, Malcolm Gladwell did a book called Blink. I'm a big believer in that. Go with that first instinct. If you feel it, there's a good chance other people are going to feel it that way. And that's always been a good indicator for me.
How many songs do you have to write to get one, I'm With You, Be Still? Let me guess, 20.
To get one, I would say my ratio's in that range, 25-ish.
Yeah,
like,
people think that's unusual, but it's not.
No. And like, for instance, like Be Still was actually a really cool song because I'm With You was already written. So the verses to I'm With You became the verses to Be Still. So we kind of made a medley out of it. So I had a different chorus on I'm With You and a different bridge on I'm With You. And I wanted to say a more intimate thing in the chorus, just the way the chorus empties out, be still. And it just, there was something about that felt so, I felt like I was singing to my own soul at times.
That's cool. And
my wife and I wrote that chorus on the plane. And and I just said, I feel like this goes with this verse. And the guy I wrote the song with, he's like, man, do whatever you want to do. It's fine. And it just is my favorite. But if you could take the concept of, I want to write something called Be Still, and you can go at it 16 different ways, and they could all fail, and then a moment of inspiration can hit that quick.
Where do you think gospel's going? Is gospel getting too close to pop now? Is it staying true to its 50s, 60s church days? Where is it going? Because sometimes I hear a gospel song and it feels like a gospel song. Sometimes I hear a gospel song and it feels like a pop song.
Yeah.
I don't know how. I don't have enough. I don't know which is better.
I guess it's a question of feel, rhythmically, verse, and that kind of, that B3 that'll pull you back, or that certain rhythm that'll pull you back to, oh, I know this is a gospel song, or at least something from the Blues Brothers movie, right? But then it always, for me, it comes to messaging. So even back to your first question, like when I'm writing, I've probably got the messaging out in front of everything else. And then generally the lyric will follow the melody pretty much in sync. So where do I think it's going? I don't really know. I feel like
Your newest record is less gospel than I expected.
Yeah.
A little more contemporary sounding, but still the message is clearly still the same message.
Yeah, and I wouldn't even say a lot of that was intentional or even really premeditated. It was just, this is how it came out and this is what felt right.
When you say maybe it's just all about the delivery method of the message is the most important thing, and so however you deliver that to the public, that's what it needs.
I feel like the message should always stay central. I feel like the methods can change, from record to record.
And I think the methods changed a while ago. I think the distinction between pop music, kind of gospel, and gospel music, they blurred a long time back when I was a record executive.
Sure.
Just because of the variety of artists that are in the space. There's just so many.
You've got your tradition. You've got your obvious traditionals. You've got your Shirley Caesars that are going to be forever that that standard. And then you have Kirk Franklin, who is always kind of carrying the flag, and he's very, very consistent in what he carries.
I mixed a lot of Kirk stuff.
I know. And then you've got, I like sort of being, we talked about this last time on the show, but like I like being uncategorizable a little bit.
Yeah.
Like, so there's that contemporary gospel side, there's that contemporary Christian music side, then there's gospel. And even to your point, like it's a little less that, unfortunately, like almost anymore, that category has become more and more skin tone related than sound related.
No question.
That's a white guy, so that must be this.
Yeah.
That guy's got melanin, so he clearly is in this
praise
box.
and worship.
Right.
Yeah.
And being a worship leader and kind of taking that Sunday morning approach to a lot of what I have done has been intentional to blur the lines between,
You have to.
the most segregated day of the week is Sunday at 10 a.m.
Sunday mornings.
And I've devoted the last 25 years of my career to breaking that down as much as I can, especially in the day and age we're living in right now.
Oh, boy.
Help me, Lord.
Talk to me. Absolutely.
Sorry.
Oh, no, I was just going to say, the envelope in the arts has to be pushed anyways.
I agree.
If you're not moving forward, you're just sort of stuck. And I think that people, a couple of factors that come into play to me is how are artists pushing it, and then how has the technological change affected the idiom of the music? So hip hop is a super dominant force now. I think it goes well with streaming and other kinds of things, the way people communicate, and the visuals and so on and so forth. It's made other things have less prominence.
For sure.
No less importance to me, but less prominence. But if you define everything by success, you're going to miss a lot of great art. So the gospel world, the Christian music world, to me was always something that had an indie feel to begin with.
Sure.
The independent labels that were parts of majors, where there's independent distribution. And I'm not surprised that there's independent thought about the creativity of the music and pushing it forward. So,
I couldn't agree more.
yeah.
And for me, I've always set out to do, I'm still old school in this regard, like I still do albums. I probably should think more about new trends and streaming and all that kind of stuff that
do what you do.
But I like to also write and put records together that will stand up 30 years from now. Like that still sounds good, that still is relevant, that message is relevant.
Middle, and end.
Yeah,
It's a package.
And so I'm still gonna kind of ride that horse.
Absolutely.
I'm anxious for our audience to know this. Gospel chords. They just there's nothing in the world like the gospel chords. Unfortunately, I'm not really good at gospel chords.
Sure.
Especially on guitar. But can you succinctly tell us the difference between a gospel chord and say just a regular C, A minor, F, and G chord?
Man, I think for something I'd almost have to be sitting at a piano to like break
they're
it down.
embellished. They're never.
It's always going to be. There's
never
everything
root,
is
third, fifth.
everything's stretched out a little bit.
A lot of inversions.
A lot of inversions, and we actually really have a fun time with it because guys that I know that were raised in black churches will immediately start at C sharp. They're starting on the black keys. And it's not a skin tone thing. It's just that's where
home.
Everybody was comfortable.
Yeah.
C sharp, man, for real. And I was used to C, and when I got into guitar, I loved E and G, man.
And A.
Right, and A, of course, yeah. So I think, I mean, I'm short of saying, there are a few tricks in gospel that are definitely gospel. R&B took some of it from it, soul music took some of it, but that stuff originated in church, for sure.
I love the sound of it. And the drummers in gospel music are like, ooh.
They're the best.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, the ones that also know how to play pocket.
Yeah, well,
Because
that's a given.
they've got crazy
different pocket,
chops, but the guys that have also given themselves to really locking into the right pocket with those chops, when those chops happen, it's like, I was waiting
like
for
heaven
that.
on earth.
Absolutely.
No question about it. Have you gone out yet and started to support this record live?
Yeah,
Okay.
and I've been enjoying that. I've been enjoying that a lot, and it's funny how you can feel something in the studio, but then you get out live
Completely
and it
different.
just takes on an immediate different energy.
Yeah.
And you realize, oh, that felt good in the studio, but the audience loves this part, so we might want to add 2 more sections of that live because that feels good live. And it's not just a 3.5-minute song that shows up on the record.
Yeah, no, it's interesting you say that. Even when we do a live event in front of people, and ostensibly they're seeing a version of the show, that's why they have us in to talk, but it's a completely different experience.
Sure.
There's a different interaction, there's a different thing it makes you do, you prepare differently, and so I can't imagine
Absolutely.
as a musician, it must be really amazing.
Well, and I've had my band with me a long time, so like, it used to drive them crazy. It no longer does. The fact that I'll be like, we're starting an E, and then I'll just call them out.
We'll figure
like,
it out. Yeah.
Because it's like surfing. There's a good
use that
wave
analogy all the
coming,
time.
and I want to be able to fully ride. I want to pipeline this thing, and so it could be that I'm going to start this song way differently than we started it last week. I might go at it a different way. So I think any good live performer, and I always strive to be a good live performer, is always looking for that frequency. Here
I
it
was
comes.
going to say, I drive my band crazy too
Yeah.
about that, because everything's different.
And it's
you
meant to
gotta
be.
read it.
To your point, if you're not moving forward, you're stuck.
Absolutely.
And I would add to that, if you're stuck, it stinks. Like anything
people
that is
read
stuck
it.
is going to get stagnant. So it's just, and people can feel like your heart's not that into it. This is routine now. And so I've fought routine my whole life.
And why that's important for you guys who are songwriters and you're making music for a live performer, or you're live performers yourself, you can't ever rest when you're live. Every time you go in, it's a new thing. Approach it as a new thing.
Yeah.
and prepare differently, because if you phone it in, the audience will read it.
They're gonna feel it.
And they'll fool you because they'll still clap for you, but they may not come back the next time. They may not buy that ticket. They may not buy your product, but they'll give you that, and you get fooled. So it's always interesting to me to hear live performers and how they extrapolate that into their music and then back out when they go out on the road, because it's inspiring to you when you get the information back that you go for, or even when you fail, you learn something.
100%.
Correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Sometimes there's a happy accident, and sometimes it's just flat out, I landed on my face. And if you're not too precious about that and you go, guys, my bad, we just landed on our face on that one.
Let's go.
You actually can build a sense of endearment there. Like, hey, these guys are human. That's cool,
Do you work or write or produce for other artists as well too?
I do, yeah.
Do you? Yeah.
Yeah, and I gotta say, I almost like that more. Because I'm not as it's that taking the 3-point shot at the close. Like the pressure is different. Like I feel like as a tailor, you gave the analogy off camera of barber, but like for me, if like somebody says it's the kind of record we want to do, it may not be the kind of record I would exactly do, and I could push and go, well, what about, and when they go, no, I really want this, I have to realize I'm a tailor, so I'm making a jacket that is ultimately going to fit you.
Yeah, well
it's
said.
not. It's not going to. It may look dumb on me and may not fit me at all, but if it fits you and you're happy with it, and it has embellishments that I would have never chosen for myself, but you dig them, then I've done my job. So I actually love that collaboration process. Matter of fact, we did the last record at the House of Blues here in Encino on this record I did called the Elevation Collective. And man, one, that room, I missed that room. It sounded great, but two, it's like I enjoyed taking these songs and adding just enough of my thing to it, but allowing it to be its thing and be a master tailor, hopefully.
Going back a little bit, can you name 3 songs, one can be yours, that a person that doesn't know very much about gospel could get introduced to the medium through those 3 songs? Like for me, one would definitely be Oh Happy Day.
Oh Happy Day was going to be my number one answer.
Yeah, I love Oh Happy Day.
Rest in peace, Edwin Hawkins.
I didn't know he passed.
He passed, yeah.
What was the lady singing that? She was famous too. Anyway.
Tremaine, his sister?
I think so. So that's number 1. Number 2?
Number 2 for me would probably be Andre Crouch.
Yeah.
Either My Tribute or The Blood Will Never Lose Its
Andre's
Power.
a good one. What about Victory, Yolanda Adams?
That's straight down the line, but like very, very contemporary. Perfect. That's a perfect gospel song. You mix that song?
Yeah.
I bet. That's why. That's why it's the best.
Just working those plugs wherever you can. He's gotten very good at it over the 400 episodes.
Just to be fair, Serban worked on it too.
I love it.
Greg Curtis.
So, as you look at the future, because your creativity and your chops, your performing chops, all right here, new record, and we want to talk about the meaning of that record. You're also doing more as a business person, both inside your brand and your wife's brand, and so forth. Does all that make up the creative nexus for Israel Houghton? Is that?
I think so. I think you have. I've heard it said this way: you have your learning years, which is generally your 20s. You have your earning years, which is generally your 30s, if you're kind of fortunate to have the career like I've had. And then you have your turning years. So like I feel like I'm in the best part of of my turning years. And what I mean, like I've learned a lot. I've thankfully earned a lot. And in turning, it's like taking all of those experiences, finding other people to run with it, finding these young guys that will grind and want to grind and want an opportunity. I'm like, yo, you go fly to Dubai.
Absolutely.
And grind.
I'll be at home.
I'm gonna chill at home and do some other. So that's why I've enjoyed kind of, mixing up the portfolio a little bit. You mentioned my wife. We're working on several really cool things together, fashion lines and jewelry lines and podcasts and stuff that we're doing together that we're really, really enjoying. And so I think when you get that combination of everything, I've seen guys, we've all seen the heavyweight fighter past his prime.
Oh, yeah.
And you're like, man,
scary,
bro,
man.
come on.
Scary.
Save some of that money and do something different with it, man. Go George Foreman with it and make some grills or something. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So I don't want to be the punch drunk guy 10 years from now going, come on, somebody buy my record.
Right.
I hope they
too
will, and
much
I
of
hope
that.
I can still make timeless art, but I want to be thinking about the next generation with my kids and their friends and that sort of thing.
I love that key.
Thank
Can you
you.
hold that to the camera so they can see the whole key?
Yeah. It says unlock hope.
Isn't that cool? It's little Africa. on
Africa,
top of the
yeah.
key.
But it looks like a key. Thanks, man.
Tell us about Damascus. The
Road to
love
Damascus.
DeMaskUs.
Yeah. It was definitely a play on words, but it was borrowed from a very true to life analogy for me. Like the Apostle Paul in the Bible, he had this experience with God face to face, and it's what changed his whole life. And he ended up writing most of the New Testament. But before that, he was persecuting Christians. Before that, he couldn't be further from God. And I found myself, even though I'm a Christian artist, gospel artist, worship leader, whatever category we're in today, and I realized I was so far from God. I had made some terrible decisions in my life and just changed the trajectory of my life, and it all changed badly before anybody ever actually knew about that. By the time everybody had found out about it, I was totally on the other side of that because I was able to take my mask off and go, listen, I'm not a super Christian. I'm a human being. I'm a flawed guy. And yet I still love God, and the beauty that I've taken away is that he still loves me. And I expected to be disqualified, and I expected to be cut off, and I expected to be like, you're done. And instead, I'm actually enjoying my life to the full right now because in taking the mask off, so to speak, I found a peace that I didn't know existed. I sang about that peace. I tried to introduce other people to that peace, but I didn't know it myself. And there was a freedom on the other side of that. Because I think most people wear a mask, especially like in this social media age, man. We wear a mask to protect ourselves and to present ourselves in this certain light. And the truth is, it's actually cutting off our oxygen. It's very suffocating. Right. And once I got that and just said, I'm willing to lose everything for a chance at happiness and peace, I'm so glad I did, man.
And it's crazy that, and this is relevant again to the audience, sometimes when we speak, we'll include our takes on social media, and they're not always the same. But I often say, at least from my perspective, we're so engaged, we're disengaged.
For sure.
Like we're so engaged here that you can get hit over the head and you have no idea it's coming. Yeah. But to your point, we're also creating this kind of exoskeleton to protect us from what's coming in and what's going on, so we don't have to react. Yeah. And again, I don't want to make it all negative, but people don't pay attention to how that's limiting them.
Oh, man.
And so the idea that it took courage for you to just say, I'm going to try to be happy, I'm going to be vulnerable, and I'm going to let it out.
Well, and especially in a church context, that's very unheard of.
Yeah.
Because it's sort of like, and I grew up as a pastor's kid, so it's like very subconscious, but it's like, this is the family business, man.
Right, man.
Like, God is good all the time, God is good. Smile.
Right.
Don't let people know you're going through anything really rough.
Yep.
Don't let people know you've been, separated from your wife for 5 years and you're still playing this game and trying to maintain this platform. And for me, I was just like, that's enough of that, man. Like, here's what's real. It is exhausting.
It's exhausting.
And when you just go, I have this much. I know that God loves me. I woke up this morning in my right mind. The place I woke up in might be smaller than the place I was used to before the divorce or whatever, but here I am, and I have purpose still in my life. And certainly when Adrian came into my life, and we fell in love, everything changed, for the better. And suddenly I'm living this life, and I'm currently living this life. We've been married 2 years, and man, I've never been happier in all my life.
Was the album affected by that change? Because it's autobiographical.
Yeah, it's definitely autobiographical. It touches on a lot of things. The opening line in the whole record is a cappella, just comes in before any music comes in. It says, "We lie to our lovers, we lie to our friends, painting our pictures and playing pretend." And it doesn't sound like it would be a worship song, but it actually is, because the last two lines of the chorus are, "We hide our weakness to cover our shame, but you see the darkness and you love us the same." So it becomes a very vertical song, and you're just saying to God, like, I've presented this life that has fallen down, and you still love me. Like, I think that's a shock to some people, possibly because of all the crap we were taught growing up. Like, you do bad, you're out. God has turned his back on you. God has turned away from you. And I've enjoyed the narrative of this project, being able to say to people, God is not mad at you. He's actually madly in love with you. And when you can present that to people that have believed that lie, that they're no longer loved, it's great to be a part of that.
In your writing process, guitar, piano, or both?
Both. I think if I'm trying to stay simple, I'll write on guitar. If I'm wanting to stretch out a little bit, maybe some of the ballads end up being written on piano.
Got it. Now, I think it is time. So we've got a newly...
Should I stretch?
Yeah, because, he's in the new place.
You ain't got to do much to win.
His 40-yard dash is now at 4.3. The last time we saw him was 4.5.
I love it.
It's all better. You ready?
I am.
Batter. Oh, wait. Did it take your voice away? This is emotional. DeMaskUs.
I was trying to be dramatic. You want to pray before this?
No, I'm ready.
Okay, here we go.
I prayed before I came.
There we go.
Organ.
B3.
Microphone.
The slate, man. I'm loving the slate right now.
It's good. Choir.
Brooklyn tab.
Church.
Lakewood.
Dove Awards.
That can be an answer.
That's an answer.
Okay.
Okay. Book of Revelation.
We win.
Drums.
Yamaha.
Virtual synths.
I like Omnisphere.
Tempo.
Necessary.
The least expensive piece of gear you used on road to Damascus.
Jesus.
Damn, that's a good answer. Whose side you on anyway?
It was a neutral thing. I mean, Jesus on all of our sides. So.
Jesus is not inexpensive, though.
No.
It cost him his whole life.
No, it was for him. For us.
For us, it was free. That's so true.
Yeah.
I'm going to go with his answer, Jesus.
Okay.
Oh, cool.
Well done, Herb.
Well done, sir.
There's more pitches coming?
No. Referees, disqualification for participation by the host, right?
I'm ready for the controversy behind this Dove Awards question, but let's go. Man.
Well, no, because I'll tell you what's funny is when he said it, I literally thought you were saying Devil Awards, and I didn't hear the. But and actually, not that I'm making that correlation here. I think that there is no controversy. There is what you think, and what you've experienced. And that's good enough. We don't need to unpack it.
Yeah, no, it's beautiful. I'm not trying to unpack it.
Yeah, no. I think, we live in a time, we referred to this earlier, and I keep looking for artistry and music to begin to help us through it. Because in our lifetimes, whenever there's been upheaval in the American body politic, whichever side you're on, generally musical artists talked about it and presented it on both sides of the spectrum. And I'm looking for that now. I don't see it as much necessarily, and maybe it's not that those things get as popular.
I mean, not to weigh into the political pool, but I do feel like we have been set back a bit. I feel like the church itself, music, certainly Christian and gospel music was making progress. And I feel like in a lot of ways, the last couple of years, we've been catapulted back just a little too far. And so it makes me enjoy my life. It makes me enjoy my job, which is gospel, which is good news. You know, like, we got enough bad news going on right now, man. And so the fact that I get to be part of the counterculture of that and say, there is good news. God is really good, and he is truly faithful. And to be able to present that in a way to believers and non-believers alike, you know, that at the very least, just the hope that comes from us finding what we do agree on and locking into that.
Absolutely. Man, listen, besides being a friend of the show, it's so good to have somebody be able to present the point of view that is really important to all of us, no matter how much you believe or not. It's important for you to hear it. And also create great music and perform great music and stand for a standard and be honest and vulnerable about their lives. I think a lot of what we try to do with the show is say, very imperfect people do what we do.
Absolutely.
We all struggle. I'm going to give a shout out to somebody whose name I won't mention, who I got an email from 3 days ago, who was struggling and potentially at a very bad place. And what I sent back to him was, we do too. And you're not alone.
You're not alone, man.
And don't take it a moment at a time, because you're one of so many. You're not in this by yourself. And the response I got from him, which I haven't shared with the team yet, was just, it was so grateful that somebody just paid attention.
Yeah.
So it's great to see somebody that they can look up to and say, hey man, 5 years ago, I had to demask and move forward. So we love you for that.
Thank you.
It's great to see you.
Man, it's a pleasure.
And Dave, why don't you take us home?
Guys, now that this episode's over, go straight to gospelchops.com. You'll find two of my favorite all-time drummers. You know what I'm talking about. Oh my gosh, these guys are so incredible. And that website needs a little support. It's doing good work. And it teaches you guitar chops and keyboard chops, but the drum playing is my favorite. If you get a chance, recommend the show to some of your friends. I think it's worth spreading the gospel, which is another word for good news. And we'll see you next week.